Ah, man, we waiting on this one, DB. We got our brother back. We brought our brother back, HB.
I love it.
Yeah, we got him back, DB. Tell him who we got. Turn your mic on. It usually works better that way.
I do that every time, but I mean, I'm just so excited that I'm doing a million things right now. And last time we had him on, he was here to promote the little things. And I'm glad to have him back. As you can see in the background, I still have my Blade Runner 2049 blaster. I'm a huge fan of this guy. And right now, he's with us to talk about the new film that is in theaters this Friday, April 1st. He plays Dr. Michael Morbius in the film Morbius. Please welcome him back to the show, Jared Leto.
Jared!
Jared! What up?
Jared, Happy New Year, brother.
Thank you so much for having me. I so appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. I was watching you while we played that Nas track prior to introducing you, and we was having this off the record conversation, off mic conversation, citizens, and we were just commending Nas on how he's never run out of things to say. You know, he always has, substance in his rhymes, and man, and it seemed to be a shelf life for a lot of artists, especially with rap artists. But this guy seems to excel. I'm curious to you as an artist, have you ever had like a idea, had a thought that you might have a shelf life or that you may ever run out of things to say?
No, I don't really think you do run out of things to say as long as you live a life worth living. I mean, I look at the great artists like, Picasso, people that were so proficient, and really lived these, lives that were, so full and rich. And I don't really worry about that sort of thing. I mean, I've never felt any kind of fear about that either. I mean, I guess an artist, if you have experiences in life, and you should be able to share those experiences no matter what. So I don't really think so. The thing that happens probably is that maybe you just get burnt out by the amount of work that it takes to create something meaningful, because it really, I don't know if it ever gets easier. It always takes, it's like mining Bitcoin or something, it always takes a certain amount of energy, to get that, to squeeze that dirty Bitcoin off into the universe. It takes a significant amount of energy and passion and sweat to produce, a work of art. So at some point you just might say, I'm ready to just look at the sunset. I don't know.
Yeah, and then he looks off into the sunset. You see that,
I
HB?
know, I saw
That
what
was
he
well
did.
done, Jared. I like that.
Jared, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm one of those people that go to sleep with the television on. I know it's not a really good habit, but I happened to see you in the trailer for this film, and I was like, oh my gosh, our nice friend has turned into a monster. And it was this image in my head. I was like, this is crazy. But I also wonder, when you talk about energy and what goes into making a project, what's the energy like when you come down from that? How long does it take you to like get out of this particular character's space and head when you go into your sunset, lights are off, you go home, project wrap? Do you have to decompress?
I mean, yeah, and I think that's a normal thing to do if you make a commitment to something, especially for a pretty significant amount of time. If you have a way of walking or talking, an accent, and you work in a really immersive, committed way, those things just become habits. So, it can take a little while to walk away from those habits. And I think that's normal. I mean, I had a way of walking in this movie that was really intense, and it was really hard on the body. I was playing a guy who in the beginning of the film is dying. He has a rare disease. He's searching for a cure for this really rare disease. He's a brilliant doctor, and he has a real difficult time walking. And I worked with some people that walked in this specific way and learned how to walk like this. And it was really, really quite a difficult thing to walk away from every day. It made a pretty significant impact, but the physical stuff and then sometimes the psychological stuff in a film it can kind of seep into your psyche and be a little hard to step away from, unless you're a sociopath or something. Then it's probably easy.
Jared, like I like how
gonna say that. Yeah,
he
he slid that
slides them
part
in.
right
He
in.
slid that one in. I read that you met Daniel Espinosa while you were on tour with 30 Seconds to Mars, right? Is that true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He came to a concert of ours. I can't remember what country we were in.
I think it was Germany, right?
It was Germany. Yeah, that was the first time. And then I remember he was at the Forum in LA. I remember seeing him there, but the first time was in Germany. And it's funny, actually, when I got Dallas Buyers Club, when I decided to do that movie, I had met the director in Germany as well, in Berlin as well. So I guess that's a lucky good place for me.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, on tour. You know, was there any conversation at that time that sealed the deal for you getting this role?
Well, to be honest, I already had the role when I met him.
Okay.
So it was a different experience, which was quite nice. You know, you kind of earn that experience, and it's a beautiful one to have, where you're a partner and a collaborator rather than an actor for hire and someone who's just there to audition. With Dallas Buyers Club, the director and had the script and had McConaughey lined up, and you know, they wanted to kind of talk to me and meet with me. It wasn't exactly an audition, but what I did for the meeting is I was in character the whole time to give him a sense, and that was surprised him. Actually, in the meeting, I started off, I said hello, and I reached out and I started putting on some lipstick, and I took off this jacket, and I had a little dress on, but and I kind of just like, you know,
You had a dress on.
Yeah, I had a dress on
For the character.
appropriate for the character. So I played the part basically in the meeting that I had. But for Morbius, I already had the role. It was really about Daniel and I meeting and agreeing to work together. And it's nice, man. You know, you work a long time for these opportunities. And this is the very first time that I've starred in a really big Hollywood film. This is it. I mean, I waited many, many years, and I'm excited about it.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. And my brother Tyrese is a part of this as well, right? And, you know, Tyrese, you know, I mentioned last time we talked, you know, somebody I've known for a long time. I've been really proud of him, and he's playing Simon, the role of Simon, which is originally a white character, right? And a lot of times, you know, the avid fans, they don't like when you change anything about a character from a book or a comic book, or, you know, what are your thoughts about that?
I mean, the world's changed, so you change with it, you know, and it's like the face of the world has changed, the reality of the world has changed, and you know, I mean, why not? To me, it never that stuff. It's always like the most important thing is the heart and soul of the character as well. And I think it's interesting to go to the best actor to play, you know, Hamlet, to go to the best actor to play the officer and, you know, the detective in Morbius. Like, you know, you go to the best actor. Sometimes there are things that could come up historically that could be too distracting, maybe, but maybe not. Maybe it'd be interesting to see, you know, different people and different faces play different roles and change the way we see things. I don't really that stuff. To me, I'm pretty open about.
Okay. All right. I like that too, Jared. I love your look
Tyrese
away.
came in and saved us. You know, we didn't cast that role until later in the game, and you know, we didn't expect to get someone his caliber. So he really came in and saved us and did us a solid.
I'm gonna play him this part back to make sure he see you saying that, man.
Okay.
He will
Great.
definitely appreciate that.
Nice.
You know how he
Yes.
is, Jared. You know how he is, man. So did you, like, I know you always stay in character the full time when you go through these works. You know, how much interaction did you get to have with Tyrese out of character, if at all?
None.
None.
None. None. It's safe to say we've never met each other.
Yeah.
But you know, I love working in this way, Sway. It's a sacred thing to me, and it's exciting, and it's a lot of people never talk about how much fun it is, but it's a lot of fun. And what happens is every moment that camera's rolling, every moment you're on the set, to be honest, and you walk by another character, you interact with a character, it's so highly charged. And when you finally look in someone's eyes and you're in that moment, in that scene, and everything you've saved, everything you've wanted to say, everything you haven't said, it's all there in that moment. And it's quite a beautiful thing. I absolutely love it.
Jared, earlier today when we were promoting that you were going to be on the show, we were kind of joking about the whole vampire ethos, basically. And so you have people out there who will look at being a vampire lifestyle as being sexy and like, oh yeah, I get to float around and be invisible and all this stuff. And like, okay, cool. If that's what you want to think, that's you. But I want to ask you about sort of the core of it, because Michael Morbius is faced with the decision of killing people so that he can stay alive or face his own death, his own mortality. Yeah. So is there a difference? Because if I go out into the woods right now and kill a buffalo or a deer or something so that I can survive, eat the meat, what is the difference between that and being a vampire? Because you're simply killing a human being. I'm still killing a living, breathing animal for the purpose of survival.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting philosophical question, but for Morbius, I think he's also motivated not to keep himself alive, but he knows that he has the keys to unlock the door as far as being able to cure other people with this kind of disease. Like, it didn't work for me. There was a hell of a consequence, but I know that I was close. And that's one of the things that keeps me, we don't really talk about it in the film, but it's one of the things that keeps the character pushes the character into making these decisions, because I know that I've stumbled upon, I've gotten so close to finding a cure for this disease and so many like it. So that keeps me pushing on the path. And it's that age-old, question about good and evil, and that battle between good and evil and fighting your primal self. But I think, vampires have always kind of been romantic, Mm-hmm. I remember as a kid and I couldn't sleep. I was in Louisiana and my grandmother let me stay up. Usually she chased me around with a fly swatter, but let me pretend like you never got a whooping before. So she would chase me around with a fly swatter. But she let me stay up and watch Dracula with her, the old black and white one. And I remember being so taken with it. I don't know what it is about those movies, but I love that. And I love the Anne Rice books and back in the day, those were great. But I don't know, something about it just captures our imagination. It's a pretty weird thing.
If you don't mind, I really want to jump in just for this real quick question, because Blade is a part of Morbius's universe. And I don't think Wesley Snipes gets enough credit for playing Blade way before, Robert Downey Jr., Chris, and all the other people who are part of this wide MCU right now. And, Wesley Snipes did that back in the 90s. So was there any conversation about incorporating Blade into this storyline? I mean, I know you might not be able to give certain things away, but is Blade a part of the conversation of Morbius?
You got to be real careful in this role here, because you say, if you just start telling the truth, all kinds of secrets will come out. So you got to just keep your mouth shut. But I always loved those movies, and I remember we would go see them in the theater, and they were dark and cool and violent, and we just loved those films. And he's so iconic in that role. And it'd be fun, with like the multiverse open, there's a lot of room to make, to experiment, and who knows what's going to happen.
Well, Jared Leto is with us, 888-742-3345. Kayla is on the line from Atlanta. Kayla, rise and shine.
What up, Kayla?
Rise and shine. Oh, my God. I am about to fangirl out. Sway, Heather, DB, Tracy, even though she ain't there, I love y'all.
Love you too.
I've talked to y'all before, but I cannot believe that I am able to speak to Jared right now.
Go for it.
30 Seconds to Mars brings me back 15, 20 years ago. Love You, Requiem for a Dream, Cool and the Crazy, Lord of War, I Love You.
Thank you.
But you have such a way of, I guess, embracing the character. How long does it take you to really, form into that, and how long does it take you to come back out of it?
Well, so I appreciate the compliments. You said all those nice things, and you said the magic word. You said "but," and I was like, "Oh, geez." You're building me up to tear me down. No, that's very kind, and hello to Atlanta. I actually was just there working on something, but it takes a while. Every role for me is like. It's like giving creative birth, and it's quite a process. You really you dig deep, and it happens in a lot of different ways. There's an intellectual pursuit where you're researching and reading everything you can, and kind of digging in and being a detective, a journalist of sorts. And then there's a whole creative, emotional thing that happens. Of course, a physical component. And usually by the time I'm done with the movie, I swear I'm never going to do it again. But in recent times, I've really quite fallen in love with the process. And I think a lot of that is like a deep sense of gratitude that you get as you get older, hopefully you get as you get older. Just a lot of gratitude to be able to do this. And that kind of keeps me in a good spot. But it's a wild thing to do. Just a bizarre thing to do with your life.
Can I add on a little bit, Sway and Jared, to Kayla's question? Because I kind of asked the same thing in the beginning about how long does it take him to come down, Kayla. But I was also wondering, Jared, when we watch some of these iconic actors like yourself play these big roles where it's heavy makeup and sitting in those chairs for hours, does that help you build more into it, or at that point you're already so focused and zoned in that the makeup doesn't even matter at this point?
No,
how does that work?
I always use, first of all, there's an opportunity cost there. Like if you just sit there and screw around on your phone, it's a bad use of time. I've done a lot of prosthetic work and a lot of makeup transformation stuff, and I like to use that time to prepare. And to me, I'm the most impatient person you ever met, but for some reason I'm able to sit in that chair for hours and just be focused. I don't really know what that is, but I usually take advantage of that time. And by the time I showed up on set, I'm ready to go to war. I'm focused and for some reason very disciplined when it comes to that stuff in my life. And every moment is an opportunity to make something valuable, something meaningful, something special. And I always remind myself not to squander those moments.
Love it. Wow. Jared Leto, man. Last time we talked, real quick before we let you go, we talked about your relationship with Denzel Washington and having a chance to work opposite of him and how great that was. And now you have Michael Keaton reprising his role as Vulture. When he was playing Batman, you was a teenager. Now you're co-starring with him. What was that experience like for you, and did you get a chance to fan out?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's these actors that somehow they just you just make a connection to their work, and I always loved his work. From Batman to Birdman, or to it was just what a career. And glad to see that he's back working so much and he's thriving. And I know he had a challenging few years in there, but what a beautiful thing to see that. And of course, when you work with people like Denzel, it's abstract in a way, because he's, Denzel has a power and a grace to his work and his life and his self. He's a person who's rich in self, right? He's got a power to who he is. Even that voice, you see him walk across a room, and it's like the room. There's you can feel it. It's an inspiration to see that in other people, and also see humility and see the dignity and see, like, I look at those things, not just, oh, is this person great at what they do, but have they gotten to a place, and are they continuing to walk towards a place that is inspiring? And that's a great thing to see.
Jared, thank you for joining us. I'm looking
man,
forward to seeing it.
dope.
Morbius, this Friday, April 1st, is in theaters. And, man, and congratulations again.
Yes.
Congratulations. Okay. And then,
Bye, guys.
all right, take care. That's Jared Leto, man. Come